Shuji had nothing to his name, not even a family name, and all that he had was his name. However, no one even bothered to use even that. They mocked him as a trash or weed, but when he became an adult, everyone started calling him by names like Spear Demon or Venomous Snake Spear. With just his spear, he defeated everyone and shed so much blood even when he was left all alone. Our hero, who ends up branded as a spear villain, only drags himself around in worn-out rags, and his daily reward is nothing more than the same dull ration of potato. The only place he can really call home is the endless battlefield. When the scene shifts to the present, Shuji walks toward a group of weaklings with blood dripping from his spear. The soldiers sent to attack him freeze in fear because what they see looks less like a man and more like a demon strolling right at them. Some even wet their pants while trembling. Their commander tries to hold them together by shouting that it is just a single enemy. He yells out charge, and the whole pack thrusts their spears toward our hero. Shuji leaps high into the air, and with one merciless strike, drives his spear straight through the commander's head. Watching their leader fall makes the rest panic. And although they swing and stab in desperation, every single one ends up as another corpse on the battlefield. Our hero somehow survives the clash, but his body is stabbed with countless arrows sticking through him. The grudges and curses of those he has slain weigh heavy on him until he finally collapses and dies. In his fading thoughts, he wonders if this was always meant to be or if fate simply glitched and betrayed him. Yet the story does not end there, because instead of vanishing, Shuji finds himself reincarnated and thrown back in time. He finds himself standing in a forest and quickly notices that this reincarnation did not drag him back to the helpless stage of a baby. When he looks into a mirror and sees his teenage face, he becomes certain that this is the time when he worked as nothing more than an errand boy. Just then he hears some noise and moves toward it. He discovers a caravan under attack by forest bandits, while the people from the Howling Tiger Escort Bureau struggle to hold them back. Our boy feels annoyed that he is forced onto a battlefield the very moment he reincarnates, and right then, a huge figure appears from behind. The oversized bandit asks if he is the escort master in charge of the guarding duty. Shuji looks straight at him and notices his trembling eyes, which makes it obvious that, like most of these forest pests, this one is also an amateur. Sweat rolls down the bandit's face as he nervously shouts that he will slaughter everyone from the escort bureau before charging in. His moves are far too predictable, and Shuji instantly seizes his spear and drives it straight through him. It may be true that our boy has lost the glory of his past war feats, yet his martial arts remain. And for him, that alone is enough. He recalls how everyone used to despise the martial art he practiced, calling it the demonic martial art technique, but there is nothing he can do about that since it is the only style he has. Carrying a bandit skewered on his spear, he keeps walking forward until another one jumps out with a sudden attack. The second bandit smirks as he believes his strike has landed, but his smug face doesn't last long. For celebrating too early, he pays the ultimate price with his life. Shuji mocks them for thinking that sending two measly bandits could work as an ambush, and without hesitation, he adds this one to the end of his spear as well. After he skewers the bandits onto his spear like chicken barbecue on a stick, he finally feels the heavy weight of the weapon perfectly befitting his taste. When he hears the name of the bureau, it drags his mind back toward the old days. As he calmly walks through the cluster of bandits, every single one of them grows uneasy and nervous at his sight. Just then, a huge guy steps forward and loudly declares that he is the leader of these forest bandits. Shuji only gives a simple smile, which pours fuel on the fire of the bandit boss's temper. The furious boss charges at our boy with a wild slash. Yet when Shuji easily dodges it, he mocks him for acting like a cowardly rat who can only run. Our boy gives the big guy credit for carrying such a muscular body, but then ridicules him by saying that this is all he has to show. After that, he answers with a single sharp strike, and that alone is enough to put down the so-called muscular boss for good. The scene sends cold chills up every bandit's spine, and more than a few of them collapse on the ground in terror, calling our boy a merciless monster. Meanwhile, the only remark Shuji makes is that his spear still feels annoyingly light. To fix that, he calmly adds a third barbecue piece onto his spear. This horrific sight drives the bandits into complete panic, and they scatter while screaming that they have just witnessed a monster. At this very moment, the spear demon has returned once more to this world, and in the eyes of the fleeing bandits, there could be nothing more terrifying than such a monster standing right before them. Our boy makes his way toward the battlefield where the escorts are still struggling to defend against the bandits. For a short while, they seem to have the upper hand until another oversized muscular bandit suddenly barges in and tries to act like a hotshot. He loudly declares that he will show these bounty hunters their proper place. While he clashes with the escorts, the lingering demonic spirits of his fallen comrades whisper to Shuji. They tell him that the man's name is Ego and that he once stood as their boss. They even beg for their old leader to come along and join them in the afterlife. Shuji asks if this brute is truly their stronghold leader, and the demonic spirits confirm it while once again urging him to take the man with them. Our boy gladly grants them their wish without hesitation, ready to devour the bandit ex-boss whole. As Shuji calmly steps forward toward him, the spirits echo louder and start calling out his name, Ego. The bandit's ex-boss clearly hates being called like that. But before he can even raise a proper complaint, our boy smashes him to the ground. Fear consumes the ex-boss when his eyes fall upon the corpses of his allies still hanging on the spear, and the terror only deepens as their voices repeat his name and demand that he join them in death. The man breaks down crying real tears, and the only thing he sees in front of him is a walking demon. When the spirits chant Ego's name for the third time, a strange demonic power erupts from Shuji, and a claw of darkness slashes across, cutting the bandit's throat as the spear swings. Whenever a name is called 3 times in this way, Shuji can send a soul directly to the underworld. That is exactly what happens to Ego as he is dragged screaming into the afterlife. Our boy then thinks about how long it has been since he last used this cursed skill. And with that thought, he sinks into old memories of the time when he was tossed into a dangerous scouting mission just because he was still a rookie. His hands end up torn with cuts and dripping blood as he barely manages to climb a steep cliff while putting his life on the line. He recalls with bitterness how he was scammed by those who promised that if he just enrolled in the army, his starving days would be over. Yet here, he suffers in the very same way he once did when living as a slave. Stopping near the edge to catch his breath, he tries to steady himself. When he rises again, he suddenly senses a strong dark aura swelling from behind. He spots a looming shadow when he peeks over his shoulder. The shadow has glowing red eyes, and the terrifying sight nearly scares the crap out of him. His mind scrambles, wondering if it is a tiger or some restless ghost, but he forces himself not to look and starts walking away as fast as he can. He tries to escape with the thought that this is something he was never meant to see, and panic eats at him as he tells himself he does not want to die so early, at least not before managing to get himself a wife. His inner voice screams at him with all its might, warning him not to turn around no matter what happens. Then out of nowhere, a voice calls from behind, asking him what he truly plans to achieve after struggling so miserably all his life. The creature in the shadow ridicules his existence, saying it is no better than some crawling bug. After mocking him, it persuades him with an offer to gamble, promising him a chance to throw away this pathetic life once and for all. Shuji finally dares to look back and demands to know how he could trust such words. The figure in the shadow, who seems like some old geezer hidden in darkness, remarks that the boy has some nerve to talk back like that. With a grin, he asks the boy for his name. And when Shuji tells him he is Shuji, the old geezer still looks dissatisfied and presses him to answer again. Our boy tells him again, but the geezer asks him again, and this time he shouts out his name as his irritation grows. After the demonic-eyed geezer hears the name for the 3rd time in a row, he closes the distance in less than a split second and lifts the boy up with a single hand. The boy becomes worried because he could not even see the geezer move, and now he finds himself getting choked. The geezer takes him as his disciple without bothering to give him an option and tells the boy that if there is someone he wants dead, he only needs to have their name called 3 times. If he does just that, then no matter what the answer will be, he will succeed in murdering them. That day, Shuji gets blessed with demonic powers from his master, who is seen as the image of evil in the martial arts world and is infamously known as the blood demon Kokofu. Snapping back to the present as he walks while brutally killing every single bandit, he notices one strange thing. Apparently, his mind feels clearer than ever before. He thinks about the demonic power given by Kofu and remembers that the gift was incomplete and that the roots of the power were meant to sink into his bones and cloud his mind. For some reason, though, he now feels fresh and clear instead of dulled like he was supposed to. Focusing on his body, he wonders what has changed, and it does not take long before he realizes that the Miao tribe breathing technique has something to do with it. He learned that technique as a child long before he joined the army. He becomes certain that this breathing method is what keeps his mind intact and preserves his calm and clarity rather than the fog that should have covered his mind. Kofu had warned him that until he mastered the demonic power, he would not keep his sanity. And now that he smiles with a quiet sense of achievement and wonders what expression his master will make when he learns of this. Just then, the bureau members approach from behind, offering their thanks for saving them from such a dire situation. Their commander, Shuji, the Tiger Pit sect's first-class escort, fixes her gaze on him with a nervous expression. She had watched him mow down those bandits one after another without even pausing for breath, and his presence alone feels suffocating. Not wanting to let go of such a powerful ally, Aika politely asks if he would be willing to lend them his strength a bit longer. Our boy shuts her down instantly, saying that if she has nothing else to say, he is leaving. Aika quickly stops him and presents a golden token, explaining that it belongs to the Tiger Pit sect's enforcement bureau. With it, he will be welcomed as an honored guest wherever their influence reaches. Shuji takes the token while thinking about the Tiger Pit sect. Their reputation for honesty is well known, yet he also knows their tragic fate since they will vanish in just a few years. Still, he accepts it without hesitation. Aika then leads her underlings away, promising to greet him again once their mission is complete and telling him to relax for the time being. Before leaving, our boy asks to borrow a horse without a hint of shame. However, he chooses the one notorious for its foul temper. Aika is worried since even skilled riders struggle with that animal, but when she turns back, she sees him already seated on it. To her shock, the horse stands frozen in obedience, trembling so badly that it literally pees due to fear. Watching that, Aika can only reaffirm what she already suspected, that the man before her is no ordinary warrior but a monster in human form. Her vice commander teases her with a smirk, asking if she has fallen for him at first sight. Aika's face turns red with anger as she glares at him with her hand already on the hilt of her blade as she threatens if he is tired of living. The group then shifts the topic to Shuji's spear technique, curious if he might belong to a renowned spear-wielding clan. But Aika quickly dismisses the idea, pointing out that what she saw was definitely not a martial arts style. She speaks from her experience that it was unmistakably a military spear technique. Yet what unsettles her most is how a boy of his age could display such mastery. She begins to suspect that Shuji is the son of a powerful military family, perhaps traveling on a warrior's journey like many do after finishing their training. Still, what leaves a deep impression on her is his nature. Despite being rough and selfish, he risked his own life to help them when he had nothing to gain. That mix of strength and contradiction intrigues her, and she deliberately chooses to send him toward the Tiger Pit sect. In her heart, she silently hopes that when he learns of the sect's looming crisis, he might step in to save them from the evil Black Dao sect. Meanwhile, our boy is busy scolding the trembling horse, demanding it stop peeing. He threatens to cut it down if it dares soil the ground again. With that settled, his mind drifts back to the Tiger Pit sect, and a certain man named Aiko comes to mind. He wonders where that guy is now and what kind of trouble he might be in. Shuji drifts back into his memories, recalling the moment Aiko became his very first friend after he joined the army. He remembers the harsh early days when senior soldiers would bully him, demanding that rookies like him serve them dinner before they could eat their own. Shuji had boldly replied that he had never heard of such a rule, but the bully warned him that if he wished to avoid a beating, then he had better remember it from now on. Just as things were about to turn ugly, Aiko appeared and called out their bluff, saying with no hesitation that what the seniors claimed was complete nonsense. He went even further by daring them to take his portion as well since he was new here too. The senior bully turned red with rage at his defiance and tried to strike him. Aiko grabbed a potato and hurled it right into his face and with a mocking grin told him to eat it if he was that hungry. Then, without holding back, he pummeled the senior with a flurry of punches until the man fell, warning that next time he would break every tooth in his mouth. Shuji, startled by his boldness, whispered that he should not interfere. Aiko hands him the potato and tells him that he should eat it if he wishes to survive in this place. That sincere gesture marked the beginning of their friendship, and Aiko introduced himself as Shuji's direct senior. The two began to talk, and Shuji, who was then known as Koioi, revealed his name before asking the senior for his. His mind then drifts further to the time when he was nearly choked to death on the cliff by the blood demon Kokofu. Aiko had come searching for him and arrived just in time to see the terrifying scene. Without hesitation, he shouted at Kokofu to release Shuji, threatening that he would fire a flare and call for backup if he did not. Kofu smirked and let Shuji slip from the cliff, sending him tumbling down, which made Aiko mad. The demon casually remarked that he had done what he was asked to, so Aiko should be satisfied. Eiko was on the verge of pulling the trigger and firing the flare when Shuji, barely clinging on, stopped him at the very last moment. Shuji somehow manages to stop his fall by clinging desperately to a jagged piece of rock. He tells Eiko to leave without worrying about him. Kofu, however, makes it clear that he has no intention of killing either of them. Instead, he puts forward a dangerous proposal. If they bring him a rare herb that can heal his wounds, he promises to grant them the strength to survive in this merciless world. With no other choice before them, Shuji and Eiko reluctantly agree. From that day onward, they became the disciples under Kofu. It is then that Kofu begins teaching them about beings known as the unrestrained demons. He explains that these creatures are born from human souls that fell into demonic corruption after being devoured by tigers. They lose their humanity and wander as corrupted spirits, ultimately ending up as their master's loyal subordinates. Kofu then introduces his infamous martial technique, which he calls the art of the unrestrained demon. He explains that the art follows the same twisted rules. It has 3 main stages called compression, tempering, and transcendence, with each stage split into 10 levels. The first stage lets a person release demonic energy like a stream of water, while the second stage turns blood into venom. Their master calmly adds that he now stands at the 4th level of the final stage, where the ideas of good and evil no longer mean anything to him. After filling their heads with this nightmare knowledge, Kofu finally makes his demand clear. He orders them to set out and bring him the herb he wanted in exchange for his teachings. Their master then reveals the name of the herb, called the 100-Year Snow Ginseng. Eiko argues that such a treasure is way beyond their reach and asks if their master can at least help them by opening the core channels that let chi flow through their bodies, which are called the run and do meridians. To their surprise, Kofu agrees. Eiko quickly suggests that Shuji should go first. He tells our boy to open his meridians and head out to gather the required herb, while he himself will pick herbs until it is his turn. To make his plan sound more convincing, he jokes that going second is always the harder job. Shuji accepts the idea without suspecting anything and sets off. The story then shifts to his return, where he staggers back with his body full of arrows. He looks like a walking pincushion, yet he somehow gathered every single herb. With hope that things will finally work out, he drags himself to their master's place. What he finds freezes him in shock. Kofu's head lies far from his body, and the one who murdered him is none other than Eiko. His friend is also badly hurt and collapses on the ground. Shuji rushes to him in panic and demands an explanation. Eiko says he knew from the beginning that Kofu never planned to let them live. The only choice was to strike first or die later. Shuji listens and realizes this is why Eiko sent him away earlier. He now sees that Eiko's meridians are destroyed beyond repair. His friend had planned to take the master down even if it cost his own life. Tears stream down as Shuji cries for him. Eiko laughs weakly and tells him not to feel guilty, saying that killing an old geezer was nothing worth fussing over. He then explains why he chose to save Shuji. He confesses that he is the last surviving member of the Tiger Pit sect. Eiko recalls how Shuji once said that the sect's head and lady were good people. From that day, Eiko began to see Shuji as family, since no one else had ever spoken of his parents with such kindness. With his final breath, Eiko says that he is glad he met Shuji and asks him to take revenge if he ever gets the chance. His voice fades and Shuji can do nothing but watch his friend's life slip away. The story then shifts back to the present, where Shuji is riding the scaredy cat horse that looks ready to faint at any moment. He vows to himself that he will never allow grudges to exist in this world where he has been sent back. The first thing he plans is to prevent the destruction of the Hu clan at any cost. He also recalls how he just saved the Tiger Enforcement Bureau, which acted as their financial backbone, and he starts to believe the future might already be changing in ways he never expected. Shuji calls out to a man standing nearby to fetch some information. The chubby man grows angry at being addressed so casually and tries to strike him, but Shuji grabs him by the skull like he is nothing more than a melon and tells him to start talking. Shuji asks if the manor belongs to the Tiger Pit sect, whose leader is Kogennan and whose lady is Sheijian. The frightened man admits that everything Shuji says is correct. Shuji then asks if their son is named Ko-Eiko. The beaten man denies this. Shuji begins to wonder if going back in time has changed reality, though much of it still matches his memories. To make his warning clear, he grabs the man by the collar and says that if he finds Eiko alive in the sect, he will return and beat him again just for fun. The man panics and quickly explains that everything Shuji says is right except for one detail. He insists that the leaders of the Tiger Pit sect do not have a son at all. Instead, they only have a daughter. On hearing this, Shuji is struck with shock. He realizes the painful truth that his friend Aiko was actually a woman even though he always treated her like one of the guys. This revelation leaves our boy stunned, and he refuses to believe what he has just heard. Later, he still struggles to believe that Aiko is truly a lady. To be absolutely sure, he thinks he can definitely sneak into the Tiger Pit sect if he shows them the golden token, but that would completely ruin his plan to stay undercover. A few days later, he ends up late to his job at the Tiger Pit sect stables where a chubby guy named Woo Tuyun yells at the homeless boy. Yes chose to become a hobo for his cover identity. Anyway, Woo decides to punish him by making him clean up piles of horse poo for showing up late again. Inside, he orders our boy to feed the horses and take care of all the manure, making it very clear that it is still way better than living on the streets. The guy asks him if he got all that, and bro stares him dead in the eyes. He says he has no clue what Woo was even yapping about, and Woo realizes he suffers from terminal stage brain rot. He then yells at him to take his job seriously because the SEC leader actually took pity on a homeless boy like him. Just then, a horse breaks through the fence and busts the man's knee without mercy. Shuji wonders where the monstrous horse even came from. That's when he hears an annoying laugh echo through the air coming straight from the pompous young master of the Xiao clan. Looking at Woo like he's trash, the man orders the injured worker to feed his horse before he leaves. While the other stable boys carry Woo away, he remembers Iko told him that the clan was involved in her clan's demise, so he decides to begin his revenge. Meanwhile, the Tiger sect leader and Iko's father, Kaganen, appears and says to the Xiao clan brat that he is a lot younger than he expected. Aiko's father asks the brat to state his reason for coming, and the vile piece of trash answers with a creepy grin that he has only one reason. He wants to see his future wife. Hearing that, Aiko's father declares he doesn't remember giving his daughter to trash from the Xiao clan, but the brat replies there are already rumors he will definitely marry Aiko next year. Aiko's father asks him if he spread the rumor himself to ruin the Tiger sect's reputation, and that makes Xiao Taihan laugh because there is no way he would do something so low just to get his hands on Aiko. Suddenly, Aiko arrives on the scene. While the guys are left speechless by her beauty, she tells them to go find another girl to simp over and stop troubling her family. Taehyun tries to threaten her and talks about the rumors, but Aiko stands firmly with her father and makes it clear that he should leave because she can't even think about marrying him. Taihan tells the girl her family will go bankrupt soon, and so will her pride, and then decides to come back another day since he has a brothel to attend to. On their way out, his lackey says she's prettier than the rumors claim, and the young master says that's exactly why he can't stop thinking about her. He goes as far as to say she has the beauty that entire nations would be ruined chasing after and loudly says it is a shame she was born in the pitiful Tiger Pit sect for someone so perfect. Right as the two get back to their horse, the Xiao clan brat grabs its leash and declares it is time to hit the ladies' district. However, his horse refuses to budge from its place. When the lackey checks on it, the horse foams at the mouth and drops on the spot, sending the young master crashing to the ground as well. While the two wonder where the hell the stable boys are when they need them, our hero quietly watches, unseen behind the corner. He removes the horse's liver with a technique that leaves no mark, so they will never find out. He stares at the Xiao clan man who is responsible for Aiko's terrible fate. She told him the Tiger Pit sect was destroyed in a political battle with the Xiao clan, and Taihan was the one behind everything. Because of that, she came to hate her beautiful face and went as far as burning it with her own hands. That makes our boy absolutely furious and pushes him to begin his revenge plan. Later that night, he walks through the streets all alone until he arrives at a farming tool store with a huge X smeared across the doors. Our boy enters the shop, and the owner sitting inside asks him who he is. He introduces himself as Shuji, but the owner replies that he does not recognize him. The drunk amputee tells him to find someone else because he retired a long time ago. However, Shuji drops onto the table in front of him and tells him to make a simple hammer, giving exact measurements down to the inch. That shocks the drunk blacksmith who gets serious because a hammer with those measurements is not made to pound nails, and Shuji coldly says he never claimed he was going to pound nails with it. The man then asks if he wants anything else, and our boy tells him to make a custom spear as well. Hearing that, the man slaps a weapon at his left and says he will need a day to sharpen the blade of his masterpiece. Our boy asks if he has anything small and sharp too, so the owner smashes the table our hero is sitting on, revealing it is filled with steel spikes. He says he will take them all and come back to pick everything up later, but the owner questions whether a homeless boy like him can actually afford it. He confidently tells him to try him, so the man asks if he can bring his dead daughter back and touches him, thinking he is a ghost. After making sure he is not a ghost, the man tells Shuji with tears in his eyes that he will surely be satisfied if he can slaughter the bastards from the Black Dao sect who killed his daughter. Our hero easily accepts the request, so the man double-checks if he realizes what the Black Dao sect is, but our boy states there is no need to know who they are since he is about to erase them from history. Having said that, he then asks the blacksmith if he has any poison and some work clothes. The crippled man questions him if he thinks absurd things like that actually belong in a blacksmith shop, but he still throws him a bear hide in a jar full of the Miao clan's so-called special poison, which he never tested. Our boy opens the jar and instantly realizes the poison is third-rate stuff, so he tells the man that he got completely tricked. But he still takes it since he can find a way to use them and says he will collect the other items the following day. On his way out, he sees a large bone that the old man normally uses to deal with animals. He decides to take it with him for now until the weapons are finally made. The blacksmith thinks that he is some kind of ghost, but it does not matter to him because he just wants his poor daughter's revenge. Later, when he reaches right in front of the Black Dao sect's main base, the NPCs try to stop him, but he makes quick work of all of them by whacking them hard with his huge bone. When he let half of them flee in his former life, they came back later to bite him in the back. That is why our hero decides he will not let a single one of them escape this time. After he calmly walks over the corpses of the NPCs he slaughtered, all the noise instantly causes the 4 elites to arrive on the scene. Each one of the ugly warriors cannot believe the intruder is just a little boy, so they get ready to discipline him with a proper whooping for ruining their sleep. Thinking he is just some ordinary brat, the Elite 4 attack him. But to their surprise, not a single one is a match for him. He deals with the first guy by kicking his nuts straight up, then he uses his fingers to gouge out the eyes of the second one. Seeing this, the other 2 dash toward him, but he quickly kills one of them by throwing the long bone right at his chest. After that, he finishes the third one, but the last one shouts that he will surely make him suffer badly. Our boy finds it hilarious that the thieves are all mad when someone is stealing from them. He asks why the guy is getting frustrated over such a little thing because he is going to steal each and every single thing from them anyway. Seeing that, the bald guy is terrified and wonders who this monster even is because he has never seen someone fight so ruthlessly. He thinks the boy is a monster because he killed everyone in the Black Dao sect with nothing but a horse bone. Seeing him in action makes him feel a shiver crawl down his spine, but he musters up his courage and decides to strike him anyway. But our boy sends him flying in a single clean hit. Half dead, the bald guy weakly asks who he is and who sent him. He tells him the blacksmith has sent him to kill all of them. Hearing that, the bald guy is shocked that they were destroyed simply because a crippled blacksmith sent a hitman after them. Then he delivers the final strike with his massive bone, and after completely wiping out the Black Dao sect, our boy leaves and thinks to himself that now the payment for the weapons should be covered with the 4 elites' deaths. The scene shifts to the Black Dao main building. A messenger from the Xiao clan steps forward and reports to the sect leader that young master Xiao Taihan and his father are furious because their plan failed. Annoyed, the messenger insults the Black Dao leader Gu Yoho, saying he could have secured both the stolen goods and the Xiao clan's rewards if he had just sent his men disguised as forest bandits. But the moment he mentions they can't pay their tribute to the evil alliance, the Black Dao leader starts sweating bullets. Gu Yoho smashes the table in pure frustration because the plan backfired hard, and the worst part is he has no clue who was behind it all. The messenger presses on, telling him he should have sent his elites from the very start, but leader Yoho fires the blame right back at him for never warning him about the Tiger sect's insane level of security. Hearing that, Scarface fires a death stare straight back at Yoho, questioning if the old man really plans to dump the blame on him. He looks the geezer dead in the eyes and makes it very clear his whole clan is finished if he fails the second time. He yells again that the Xiao brat will not be satisfied until he gets his hands on Iko. That makes leader Yoho so furious that he snaps and shouts at the man to shut up. Suddenly, both men turn their heads to the source of a loud noise. The SEC leader can't believe someone is at the entrance when 4 elites were guarding it. The two start sweating hard as an unfamiliar silhouette appears behind the door, and the moment it swings open, 4 heads come rolling in like bowling balls. Both men are horrified out of their minds when they see the faces of the beheaded elites. Seeing that, Scarface sweats bullets, thinking the attacker might actually be a master from the Orthodox sect. Terrified, the guy claims he is from the Xiao clan and has no ties to the Black Dao whatsoever. But that only makes our boy so angry, he bites his own lip until blood flows out, then spits it straight into the Xiao dude's eyes. Confused, the guy keeps repeating he is not from the Black Dao as his eyes burn bright red. You see, the blood of a demon arts user is so toxic it acts like a poison. Our boy enjoys watching the Xiao guy suffer because his blood probably burns worse than pepper spray. After that, Scarface goes mad and swings his sword at him, but he easily dodges the strikes, which are far weaker than the 4 elites. Then a bloody mist begins to rise from his weapon. He activates his demon arts, and Scarface instantly realizes he is facing a demon. The man tries to swing again, but he forces him to jump back and lands a clean slice right down his shoulder. That single hit has so much force that all that is left behind is a splatter of ketchup on the ground. Meanwhile, Leader Yoho is losing his mind watching the enemy of humanity, an evil incarnate that goes far beyond the line between good and evil. He cannot believe one of those demons came knocking right at his doorstep. The Black Dao leader knows it is impossible to reason with a demon, but the old man has a backup plan. He has been secretly crawling back the whole time Shuji was fighting and finally presses the button that allows him to summon the evil alliance. As he slowly sneaks out, our boy drops his name and makes the old man freeze in place. The geezer can't believe the boy is sane enough to talk even while being a user of demon arts, making him wonder if Shuji already achieved mastery in his field. Watching the sheer level of control Shuji has over his demon energy, the Black Dao leader instantly falls to his knees and starts begging the master to let him live. Like every third-rate villain, he offers to do anything Daddy orders him to. He tells Shuji that he will be executed if he fails to pay his offering to the evil alliance and even dares to suggest that might be a problem for Shuji as well. Our boy is impressed by the senile bastard's quick thinking, so he commands him to abandon martial arts completely if he wants to live. Yoho can't believe what he just heard, but our hero declares it is the only condition for letting him live. The Black Dao leader realizes abandoning martial arts is the same as dying, so in a last-ditch effort, he draws his sword and tries to fight back. However, Shuji already predicted the coward never had the guts and swings his weapon the moment the geezer pulls his limp sword out of its sheath. At that instant, the old man realizes from our boy's aura that he isn't a master of demon arts. He gets furious that an amateur dared to make his greatness bow. Our boy smiles at the senile fool for finally realizing the truth, but he's glad things turned out this way because now he can deal with his enemy the old-fashioned way. Suddenly, the Black Dao leader feels an intense pain run straight through his body and wonders if Shuji secretly did something to him. Our boy thanks the man for making his job fun, then sends the souls of fallen Black Dao warriors to consume their terrified leader. Yoho swings wildly at them and then tries to attack him. However, he is no match for our boy who dodges the strikes with ultra-smooth movements the old man cannot possibly predict. In his final moments, Yoho realizes those movements are built with only slaying the enemy in mind and thinks no words other than demon could describe Shuji. After that, he is blown away by a brutal thrust to the chin that sends him crashing hard into the wall. One of the papers flying in the chaos shows proof that the Black Dao sect was selling slaves to brothels and making mountains of cash from them. The old man begs for his forgiveness, but Shuji questions how many poor souls begged him the very same way. With that, he sets the geezer's robes on fire and brings down his bone of justice to paint a second bloody painting on the floor. After that, our hero consumes the soul of the Black Dao sect leader and gets excited about finally obtaining a truly useful one. Just then, he hears faint voices outside the room. As soon as he steps out, he comes face to face with a group of armed men who get ready to fight, and he realizes there is a long and gory night waiting ahead of him. The next day at the Tiger sect, Wu tells the stable boys the good news that the entire Black Dao sect was exterminated, and their main building was burned straight to the ground. He explains that the Tiger Pit was knee-deep in debt to them. So now that those pieces of trash are gone, there is no debt left to pay back. The stable boys gain respect for the unknown hero who was behind it all, while Wu yells at our boy asking if he is finally done cleaning out the horse poo. Looking at his cold face, the fat guy starts spitting out disrespect, and our boy even considers shutting him up with his gold token. However, he decides to hide it until the Xiao clan issue is solved and instead lets Wu punish him in any way he wants. At that moment, a soft voice telling the fat man to stop comes from the entrance, and our hero is blown away when he sees the familiar face appear. He still struggles to believe just how prettier Aiko has become as he compares her face from his previous life. She lectures the fat guy to be patient with the new recruit because he is just a kid. The fat guy argues that he will probably run away after working a short while, but Eiko says every single person has a fate to fulfill. So the Tiger Pit sect values every person connected to them deeply. Shuji remembers the old Eiko saying exactly the same, telling the chunky guy that they might meet again later on and maybe become close as family. While Wu is annoyed by her lecture, she calmly tells our boy he can come to her anytime someone bullies him just because he is the new recruit. Her kind words completely blow Shuji away because while her face and voice are completely different, she still has the same pure eyes as before. With a big smile plastered on his face, our hero replies that she should also come to him as well if anyone tries to mess with her. That leaves ICO and the gooners in the back absolutely flabbergasted about what he just said to a noble lady. However, ICO simply smiles back and softly tells him she will remember that. Later that night, our boy approaches a seemingly innocent stack of hay beneath which actually hides all of his weapons. He straps the gear on, grabs his weapon, and sets off on his path to revenge. At the Xiao clan main building, he shoots through the front entrance like a ninja so fast that the guards do not even suspect a single thing. With ease, he slips through the garden and drops the guard on patrol with a stab straight to the neck from behind. After that, the hitman casually hides the corpse around the corner like there is not an obvious blood trail smeared behind him. He steps inside where two girls are confident that nothing bad will happen because of the tight security ever since the Black Dao incident shook everyone. Just then, Shuji notices two guards, so he flicks an iron blade at the first one's foot and it buries into his soul. While the man screams in pain and stumbles, Shuji walks in through the front door like nothing happened and then knocks him out flat for good measure. Seeing the guy sitting around, the other guard chowing down on dry bread gets annoyed at the idiot who keeps slacking off. He gets no response, and that makes him so mad he power walks forward to beat some sense into his lazy comrade who turns out to be Shuji in the guard's uniform. But before he even gets close, blood starts flowing from his eyes, and the man drops dead right there on the spot. When the other guards get close, they realize he was poisoned, so they decide to interrogate the chefs and lock the building down. Turns out, this is not even Shuji's final form since the entire thing was just warm-up for him to test out the gear the blacksmith carefully gave him. With that done, he decides it is time to delete the name of the Xiao clan from history. Deeper in the HQ, a guard complains that the excessive security after the Black Dao incident feels like an overreaction, and his buddy agrees. But right then, our boy makes an explosive entry through the paper doors and tears straight through their necks before they even realize what just happened. As he climbs up the stairs, a guard sees him in uniform and asks him to explain the noise below because the master is sleeping. However, the guard gets confused when he notices our boy wielding a bloody spear instead of the usual sword. The others are quickly alerted when they see him get one shot by the intruder, but they get skewered as well before they can ring the alarms. After that, two more guards rush inside, confused why the others do not know about an intruder already this deep in their territory. Like the guards before them, they also get a painful pedicure with iron blades scattered across the floor. After putting them out of their misery, he calmly heads inside the master's chambers. On entry, he instantly realizes that the Xiao clan head is in a completely different league compared to Black Dao's leader, Yoho. On seeing the boy out for blood, the old man teaches him to at least show some manners and knock before stepping in. At that moment, Shuji tenses up, standing face to face with the bastard who killed thousands for his benefit and makes Aiko's life a living hell. The old man asks why he's visiting in the middle of the night, and Shuji shoots back by asking if he's really Jou sure. The geezer doesn't like that bratty tone and tells him to mind his manners instead, then asks where he came from. He figures our boy doesn't belong to any righteous sects and starts running through all the clans one by one. Meanwhile, Shuji sizes him up, thinking this fight will be close, and calmly declares he's from the Tiger Pit sect. That answer throws Yushir off since he can't believe the Tiger Pit could raise a monster like this. The old man presses for the connection between him and the clan, and Shuji admits he's just a guest. Yushir wonders if the boy is just some servant fighter or even a stable hand, but then shrugs it off like it doesn't matter. He draws his sword, taunting Shuji that stepping in here is basically signing his own death warrant, then asks if he agrees. Our boy closes his eyes for a moment, thinking it feels unreal to meet this man. In his past life, the geezer enjoyed peace while Iko suffered in silence and died. This time, he will make sure that things will go a lot differently. With that vow burning inside, Shuji draws his spear and sets himself for battle. He swears revenge, and the clash begins as he manages to block the old man's sword with his spear. That alone shocks Yushir, who instantly retreats a step back. With a cold look, he demands to know if Shuji just used magic and why he can sense Xiao clan's secret arts coming off him. Shuji only throws the question back, asking where he even got that idea. In his head, he knows that with his 9th level compression stage spirit power, he stands toe-to-toe with this old monster. Both men then power up like they're in some aura farming contest, and Shuji keeps his focus sharp, knowing the real decider here will be the difference in their experience. The two clash again, and the old man blocks an incoming strike while admitting it wasn't half bad. But just like that, he parries the spear away, sending sparks flying and taunts that cheap tricks like that won't cut it. The wrinkly old geezer narrows his eyes, wondering how Shuji plans to fight with flames burning in his gaze, but bro doesn't even flinch in response. Yushir freezes for a split second, and the spear slams straight across his face. But Shuji doesn't loosen up even for a breath, while only a few locks of hair hit the ground with blood. Drenched in sweat, the old guy mutters that he nearly died for real there, the strike slightly cutting his neck. He tries to shake it off, claiming he almost got Shuji too with the cut on his lower body. Our boy tenses up, knowing this won't be easy since he's up against a seasoned veteran. Without hesitation, Shuji launches 2 projectiles his way, but the geezer dodges them clean with his sword. He even sidesteps a bone tossed at him, chuckling as if he's enjoying himself. He says he's dying to know who trained Shuji and even offers to take him in as a disciple, but our boy isn't buying it since he can see that the old man is plotting something underneath all those words. Just then, Yushir darts forward like lightning. Shuji tries to retreat only to back straight into a corpse. He curses his luck as the old man declares the fight is already over. In one motion, the blade pierces into Shuji's chest, splattering blood everywhere. Keeping his grip tight, Yushir smirks and says it's admirable that the kid didn't even scream. He strokes his non-existent beard and adds that Shuji is leagues above his useless son. That's exactly why he wants a strong girl around, so the wimp can have kids before he kicks the bucket. Bro doesn't let that insult slide, and he grips the sword with his bare hands, catching the geezer off guard. Shuji mocks him, asking if he really doesn't know how long he's got left before he croaks. But the old man isn't listening. He's too shocked that his sword won't budge an inch. His eyes go wide as it hits him that Shuji somehow stopped the blade with his ribs. He then wonders if the boy actually took the strike on purpose to create an opening. Meanwhile, Shuji makes it clear he's not holding back. He says he'll spell it out loud and clear how many days this geezer has left. He calls Xiao Yushir by name, and the old man instantly starts losing it. Fear creeps in, but he then thinks how absurd it is that a powerhouse like him is actually trembling. Darkness creeps around them as Shuji speaks the name again. Yushir panics, desperately trying to yank his sword free. And when Shuji calls his name a 3rd time, a demonic hand bursts forth, reaching straight out for the geezer. The old man breaks down in tears, struggling to even form words. Then he lets out a scream from the depths of his lungs as the demonic hands close in around him. In that instant, our boy drives his blade straight into his heart without hesitation. Yushir spits blood, demanding to know how some young brat like him could possibly use murder-intent illusion magic. Shuji answers coldly, saying the geezer may have fought 1,000 battles, but to him, those were nothing more than training mode. He pushes the blade deeper, taunting that real death battles are on a different level entirely, especially the kind of hell he had to crawl through. Compared to that, this fight doesn't even measure up. Gasping on his last breaths, Yushir coughs out one final plea, asking Shuji to spare his son. Lifting his hammer high, our boy mercilessly denies the request and crushes his head like a tomato. Raising the weapon now dripping like it's covered in ketchup, he mocks that Yushir will never get to see his ugly grandchild in this lifetime. With the fight over, Shuji relaxes a bit, thinking he needs to recover before moving on. But just then, his senses spike as he senses that something feels off. Stepping into the inner room, he spots 2 freshly brewed cups of tea sitting on the table. Putting the clues together, he realizes someone else has been hiding here all along. Without wasting a breath, he swings and smashes the giant pot to pieces, exposing a terrified man-child inside. The guy scrambles backward, crying out for Shuji not to come any closer. Our boy facepalms hard, thinking how trash like this is the reason countless people had to die in the first place. He grabs the brat by the hair and mocks him, asking if all the riches and power really make him a hero. But the geezer's son can't even summon the courage to utter a single word. With no answer coming, Shuji smirks coldly and declares that he'll make sure this coward truly becomes a shining star now. Looking the coward straight in the eye, Shuji coldly declares that tonight he is going to be an idol. The very next day, posters flood the province, pulling crowds from every direction. The posters claim that since both the Orthodox sect and the Black Dao sect were corrupt, someone decided to play Batman and dished out justice. People across the streets wonder what in the world is going on, talking about how some unknown vigilante wiped out both the Black Dao sect and the Xiao clan with ease. In the end, they shrug it off, glad the corrupt pests have been cleared out. Still, one question hangs in the air. Who is the person strong enough to destroy such major powerhouses? The scene shifts to Wu, telling his comrades he heard that the vigilante called Yusher's name 3 times before striking him down. That rumor shakes the workers, making them whisper that the vigilante might be the Grim Reaper himself. Wu adds that by the end, the Xiao clan master was reduced to tears, which terrifies them even further. Just then, a voice cuts through saying he is already here, sending the trio into panic. Meanwhile, Aiko is lost in thought about this mysterious vigilante who avenged the Tiger Pit sect. Even if those guys were trash, she feels a little wrong celebrating their deaths. She wonders who this person could be and why they are helping her clan at all. Then it suddenly clicks that Aiko once mentioned in a letter that a vigilante would come to the sect carrying a gold token, but Aiko cannot remember anyone like that showing up. Just then, her horse's reins are pulled, and she snaps back to reality, asking where she is. She looks ahead to see a breathtaking view of the lake that leaves her stunned. The girl turns to Shuji and asks how he knew she liked lakes. Our hero simply replies that she told him before, leaving her puzzled since she cannot remember ever saying that. Our boy drifts into thought, remembering how she always talked about lakes whenever she felt stressed. He pulls out a few herbs and lights them, letting smoke drift out across the lake. Aiko brightens up at once, realizing it is insect repellent, the one thing she always needs when visiting the lake. With a cheerful smile, she asks if he was this competent in his past work as well. Tapping into his inner poet, Shuji answers that when people treat him like family, he makes sure to take care of them the same way. She pauses to process his words, then says she will not pry into his secrets. Instead, she extends her hand and declares with confidence that at the Tiger Pit sect, everyone is family. That declaration sends Shuji into another flashback of the final moments he once shared with his comrade in his past life. Back then, Xiao revealed she was the heiress of the Tiger Pit sect, and our hero told her before that the master and his wife were good people. From that point on, she began seeing him as her family too. Just then, a loud voice cuts through calling out to the heiress who is holding hands in public. The walking Big Mac frantically shouts that the escorts have returned. Hearing that, she lights up with excitement while Shuji is left standing there hanging. Tugging the reins of her horse, she quickly apologizes for cutting the talk short and invites him to the feast later that night. With that, she dashes off while Wu chases after her, calling for her to wait. Watching them disappear, our boy finally smiles to himself and admits this life is not bad either, while Wu continues running after Aiko in the background. Time skips to the banquet where everyone raises a toast for the mysterious hero who ended up saving them. The master orders everyone to drink until they cannot drink anymore, causing a wild uproar across the entire hall. Our hero is peacefully enjoying his food, but just then, someone suddenly places a heavy hand on his shoulder. Wu and his gooners demand to know exactly how he got so close to the young lady. Annoyed, Wu gets impatient and even takes away all the premium grub until Shuji finally spills the beans. At that moment, Aiko shows up and angrily asks the idiots if they are seriously trying to bully Shuji like before again. The bullies instantly come up with excuses as they feel her cold death stare penetrating from behind. She finally gives up on them and then feeds Shuji a warm dumpling, reminding him that he was supposed to tell her whenever they troubled him. Seeing how scrawny he looks, she gets angry and tells him to come straight to her if the fat boy is hoarding all his food and not leaving any for him. Right then, her father suddenly calls her, so she tells him to eat properly and leaves with a quick smile. The 3 idiots start trash talking our boy again as soon as she is gone, and then follow the young lady's orders to feed him. Wu starts by shooting a boiled carrot at his head, but bro just dodges it with a simple tilt of his head. The 3 idiots then go at him together to make sure he gets hit, but Shuji casually chews the meat while dodging the veggies with ridiculous finesse. Back with Aiko's parents, they feel relieved that the escorts made it back safely and thank the head escort, Shu Aika, for her efforts. She stays humble, and Aiko pours her tea to honor her excellent work properly. After that, she asks Aiko about the guest with the gold token, but Aiko tells her they never showed up. Hearing that, she feels a little disappointed because she wanted to thank the young man who had monstrous skill with his spear, powerful enough to destroy the forest bandits who were actually blacked out people in disguise. She wishes she could have someone like that train her people, but Eiko tells her to relax and just enjoy the party instead. She reminds the head escort that everyone can be so carefree and happy only because of her strength, so the lady decides to indulge herself in the special drink. However, that is when she notices a commotion in the distance and spots the same spear-wielding boy from back then. But our boy quickly signals her to keep her trap shut, and just one sharp stare from him is enough to send the message that he does not want her revealing his identity. The three idiots try to jump him again, but suddenly, a grumpy man tells them to time out and stay quiet while he is enjoying his food. That makes Wu furious, and he tells the homeless-looking dude to be thankful the sect is even letting hobos like him eat here. Hearing that insult, the guy decides to teach Tubby a proper lesson in respect. But before he can, our boy steps in before the man does some permanent damage. Mr. Homeless is impressed and tells him he has a bright future ahead with his surprisingly good skills. Then he orders the greasy Big Mac to thank the little boy properly for saving his life and walks away without another word. With that, he loudly announces that he is very glad to dine at such a fine banquet, but he feels bad that everyone has to drink cold drinks on such an occasion. After he offers to warm them up, he casually places his fingers on the table and uses some sorcery to heat up all the drinks. However, he warms them up so much that they instantly turn to steam and evaporate in seconds. The hobo flashes a cocky grin as everyone stares in complete shock at his ridiculous master-level power control. Eiko's father asks the man who exactly he is after seeing that, so he drops the disguise and reveals he is actually a debt collector sent from the Evil Alliance. Asserting dominance on the Tiger Pit Master, he proudly introduces himself as Goryu, the notorious staff demon. Goryu was once feared as one of the twin demons, but after losing a battle, he switched masters and took on a new role. Now his job is to collect tribute from every sect, and those who fail to pay face nothing but destruction. The chief glances at him and asks if this is the man Aika gave the gold token to. She quickly replies that it is not and that she has never even seen him before. The staff demon casually pours himself a drink, saying it has been a long time since he came here. His tone sharpens as he points out that since everyone is celebrating, they must have had something to do with the recent sect troubles. The chief panics, but insists they had no hand in it. Goryu waves it off, telling everyone to relax if they truly have nothing to hide. Then he gets a bit creepy and comments that Aiko is far more beautiful than the rumors ever claimed. She tries to ignore it, but he keeps pressing, saying he heard Xiao got wiped out just because of her looks. With a cruel laugh, he claims a beauty that stunning was bound to topple a sect or two. Getting up close, the demon asks what she thinks happens to powerless beauties like her. He then does the unthinkable and spits on her. The staff demon mocks her that humiliation is all she has waiting in her position. The chief finally snaps and draws his sword, demanding to know what Goryu thinks he is doing. Jinan boldly declares that if a fight is what he wants, then he will gladly give it. The staff demon taunts the chief, asking if he really believes he has a chance. The chief answers that he is taking this battle not as a leader, but as a father who just watched his daughter get disrespected in front of everyone. He warns the demon to get lost, but Goryu smirks and offers to throw down right here and now. Just as the two are about to clash, Aiko calls out and tells her father to put his sword away. Wiping the spit off her face, she thanks the demon for the lesson and calmly pours him a drink. Goryu laughs at her, saying it is pathetic to serve the very man harassing her. But Aiko replies firmly that she is not offering the drink out of weakness, only out of respect for a martial arts master. He gets cocky and asks if she's mocking him, that he is some mighty warrior throwing his weight around. She calmly says she's only speaking honestly and pours him another drink. Goryu bursts out laughing, then joins his hands together. He offers a fake apology to the chief for disrespecting his daughter, telling him to put the sword away. He leans in and whispers to Jinan to play along since he's trying to save his face. The chief reluctantly complies and sheathes his blade. The staff demon strolls off, calling Ico sharp and joking that he might make her his wife. Then he pauses as if remembering something crucial. Turning back, he says he cannot leave empty-handed, which makes the chief uneasy. The staff demon drops the act and says he does not care if the sects were smashed. He still needs the tribute paid. Closing the distance, he coldly demands that the chief return the kind gesture he made earlier. Jinan shoots back, asking if the demon is extorting tribute from them now. Goryu tries to laugh it off, but the chief fires back with a question of his own, asking if he plans to collect from the Namgang clan too. That rattles Goryu, and he says that he'd die trying that over there. Then he remembers the Tiger Pit sect recently got rich and suggests they hand over condolence money instead. The chief asks for time to gather the funds and arrange things. Goryu slams the table and snaps that time is a luxury they don't have. Jinan facepalms hard, thinking the clan is finished if they can't come up with the cash, and they can't even ask the Namgang clan for help. The only option left seems painfully clear that they have to pay up and hope for mercy. Moments later, a heavy bag of gold lands in front of the demon. Jinan warns him not to touch anyone from his sect in exchange for it. Goryu says he isn't some monster, though he smirks that the chief looks ready to murder even as he voluntarily hands the money over. The demon brushes it off and flips a gold coin across the table. He tells Iko to take it as his apology for the act earlier. The girl bows silently without a word containing her anger. Sliding his straw hat back on, the staff demon turns to leave, joking that nobody needs to escort him since the moon is shining bright enough. Sometime later, the stable boys are whispering rumors about the terrifying demon. The black-haired boy states that they got lucky, that they managed to resolve the issue with money. Right then, Wu bursts in, clutching a cooked chicken in his arms and demands to know where he is. The two idiots start drooling, thinking Wu brought it for them. Hearing that, the fatso stomps the ground and snaps that the food is for Shuji only. He closes his eyes, sweating buckets as he recalls the demon's words about Shuji being his savior. He then calls out to his knight in shining armor, wondering where he is. Meanwhile, out on the bridge, Shuji stands calm in the moonlight, farming aura without a care. Sometime later, Goryu strolls off with his bag of stolen gold, looking pleased with himself, but he then stops all of a sudden. Standing in front of him is Shuji. The demon cracks a grin, joking that for a second he thought our boy was some kind of monster. Recognizing him as the stable hand from earlier, he demands to know why he followed him out here. Shuji keeps silent, which makes Goryu warn him that if he's looking for revenge, he'd better think twice. Since Eiko never bit the bait, there's no revenge for anyone to take. Shuji finally fires back, asking if he ate crows for breakfast, then rushes him head-on, demanding the money back. The demon only laughs, saying the last person bold enough to spit those words was the rogue Night King 40 years ago. Goryu dodges with ease and swings his staff, forcing Shuji to retreat a step. He pauses to admire the spear in Shuji's hands, asking what it's called. Shuji tells him it has no name. Goryu clicks his tongue, calling it a shame since it's a fine weapon, before revealing his own staff used to be a spear. After the blade was cut off, he started using it as a staff instead since it was forged from solid black iron. He even jokes that if the blade were still intact, people would be calling him the spear demon instead. That line sets Shuji off. He declares that no matter what state it's in, at the end of the day, it's still a spear. Then he twists the knife, taunting that it suits Goryu perfectly since the demon himself has been defanged. The jab wipes the smirk off Goryu's face, and he starts cursing Shuji up and down. But in a sudden flash, Shuji explodes forward and nearly splits his face clean open. The staff demon snaps that only a coward would land a cheap shot like that and charges in head first. He thrusts his staff like a spear, but our boy is built different. He uses the bridge itself to throw the demon off balance. Without wasting a second, Shuji whips out a set of ninja stars and launches them at him. Goryu states that he's an even bigger coward than he thought and swats them aside with ease. Yet our hero still isn't finished and poison spits at him, aiming for the creep's eye. The staff demon jerks his head aside with a grin, calling Shuji stubborn for being a try-hard. Swinging again, he mocks him, asking if the brat is still salty about the earlier incident. Shuji suddenly bursts into a slick spinning combo, catching the dripping poison with his foot mid-motion. With ruthless precision, he then proceeds to connect the foot right into the demon's face with a devastating blow. The staff demon stumbles back, his face sizzling from the poison as pain twists his features. He wonders where the hell this came from, but then panics as his vision goes blurry. Goryu swings his staff around wildly, but Shuji simply sidesteps and takes a swing at the demon's legs. The demon barely avoids the strike and leaps backwards on the bridge. Standing tall, he admits he gravely underestimated the Tiger Pit sect for producing such a beast. Still, he growls that it makes no sense at all for them to have raised someone like this. Shuji's fighting style is not refined at all, and he simply treats his entire body as a weapon. Getting serious, he flat out tells our hero to catch these hands and starts charging up. Dropping into a fighting stance, he vows that he will drag our boy straight down to hell himself. Shuji doesn't even flinch, simply gripping his spear tight. He shifts into a battle position of his own and taunts the demon that he might actually be Sir Yapsalot. The two lock into a deadly stare down in complete silence. The instant a leaf falls into view, the two explode forward at full speed. Their weapons collide with violent force, sparking into a massive ball of purple light that lights up the bridge. Out of nowhere, an arm tears free and crashes to the ground in a red splash. Shuji stays quiet while the staff demon bursts out laughing. He sneers that losing his arm was a steep but necessary price. His staff already punched clean through our boy's chest. Still gripping the weapon tightly, he loudly declares that this fight is his win, while our hero remains motionless.
Alright, that's the end of the story. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.